Hello, welcome back to the channel. I have a fun video for you today. A couple of weeks ago, I previewed a couple of decks that I was interested in playing during or because of Tarkir Dragonstorm, the new cards coming out, and I called that video 5 decks to maybe try and 1 to not. And unsurprisingly, the deck that I suggested maybe not trying is, of course, one of the ones that I gravitated towards playing first. So, so I've got a game for you today with Trent that I played. With the Black Red Storm deck. Yeah, it was pretty fun, pretty interesting. This deck is really sweet. I've got a little bit of other footage with it as well that I'll maybe put out depending on how people feel about this. I'm not sure the deck is good, but the deck is definitely cool. Let's jump in really quick just to the deck tech camera angle, and I'll talk about it a little bit. So essentially, what if I do some live editing? Yeah, that's way better. Oh my god. See so many more cards. All right, perfect. Awesome. Look at me go here. So, essentially what this deck is trying to do is it's a storm deck that is hoping to have some earlier eject buttons. So typically when you're storming, one of the issues that you can run into in Highlander is either your storm deck needs to be basically fully deterministic and you are looping, which means that your storm count is like sort of irrelevant, like it's not actually a limiting factor. It's just you're killing with a storm card like Tendrils, but you're not very often just naturally hitting 10 storm. That's a lot harder to do, and that's hard to do because there aren't very many rituals in particular. That's kind of the biggest limiter for Canadian Highlander storm decks, is that you're kind of looking at what we've got here. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, sort of 6, 7. Right, and this is kind of it. There are a couple other cards. Obviously, you can use artifacts to have similar ritual effects, but beyond that, like Grim Monolith, obviously, beyond that, there's not a lot of ways to generate more mana. So what that means is you can sometimes struggle to actually like win the game naturally, and that's my favorite way to play Storm, is not with some kind of loop, but rather with like non-deterministic, casting a bunch of spells, naturally getting up to a winning storm count. And so in Outlaws of Thunder Junction, the bonus sheet, I forget exactly what it was called, they printed Elemental Eruption, which makes 4/4 Flying Prowess dragons, which was pretty good, and I did try this card, and I felt like it was fine, but you still needed a pretty high storm count to win the game. Like, you would still kind of need to cast this for 5 to have it kill right away, and 4 was probably enough because you could usually cast a spell the next turn to make them 5/5s to win the game. But it was a little bit awkward. And in the most recent set, Tarkir Dragonstorm, they printed the Dragonstorm Dragons, Storm Scale Scion. This one's really good because, in my experience so far, you can basically win the game with like Storm 3. Like, if you put 3 dragons in play, they're 6/6s, and 18 is often enough to kill people because of the way that mana bases work. But even if it's not, you can kind of win over 2 turns, which is pretty good. So that's what this deck is trying to do. It's basically just trying to jam some kind of storm win as quickly as possible, and you have these eject buttons in Stormscale Scion, in Elemental Eruption, and in Empty the Warrens. In the Dream World, your first day of classing and these things have haste, although that doesn't always happen. And then you also still have outs to Tendrils for 10. Like, that's a thing that you can do if you're really going off. But ideally, you're just kind of hitting a quick escape button. The other thing this deck is doing is it's using Underworld Breach as a way to have kind of like a secondary win condition. So I don't have Lotus, but I do have LED and Exactly Brain Freeze as a blue card. I think you could also build this deck with Lotus and try it that way. I'm not playing Lotus. I'm playing Mana Vault, Mox Ruby, Demonic Tutor instead. I like the DT in particular, and I think the mana acceleration from Mox Ruby, when you're trying to do this kind of slightly shorter Storm combo with like a kind of like Ruby Storm effect with a bunch of wheels, I think it might be a bit better, but I'm honestly unsure. Lotus is obviously an extremely powerful card, so I could be wrong. Tying the room together, we've got obviously all the tutors you're allowed to play for free, and then DT, one that I'm paying points for. I've got a couple pieces of hand attack. This deck is very flimsy, but I wanted to have just something, especially since I was already playing black mana. This might let you punch through a counter spell, or at least set up a situation where you can play through one a little bit better. You've got like defense grid as another way to try and play through things, but nothing super crazy. And then you've got a bunch of ways to draw cards. Well, draw cards because you're in red. So like, your Reckless Impulses, your Jeska's Will, things of that ilk. And then you've got some cost reducers. So you've got like Primal Amulet, you have Ruby Medallion, you have Helm of Awakening. These aren't quite rituals, but they do allow you to do things cheaper, obviously. Helm and Ruby Medallion in particular are quite good with the kind of like smaller storm target cards, because once this card costs 5, it's pretty easy to ritual up to it, and this is when you put a cost reducer in play, that's when you really end up being able to go off pretty effectively with Stormscale. Other cost reducers, you have Ral, you have Stormkill Artist. It's like a pseudo cost reducer because it makes everything. All instants and sorceries make a treasure. Same thing with Bergie, making more mana. So this is Black Red Storm. It's sweet. I talked about it more in another video, so I won't belabor the point too much longer. I'll kick it now to Trent's deck tech. His deck is also very sweet, featuring some new Tarkir Dragonstorm cards as well, and then we'll get into the games. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Let us know what kind of games and decks you want to see, whether you want to see more kind of like challenge content. I think in the near future we're going to try and play some spikier decks, maybe try hard a little bit more, since that isn't something we've done on the channel for a little while. So let us know what you'd like to see, and I hope you enjoy the video.
All right, so welcome to the Mardu Midrange deck tech. Usually we leverage Moxfield for these, but for some reason I don't have this list in my Moxfield, so we'll get it up. It'll happen. We'll link the list in the description below. But I gotta get it onto the Moxfield to do that. So the reason that I think Mardu is pretty interesting, and the whole idea behind this deck, is that black, white, and red have all gained quite a lot of significant threats and pieces of interaction in the last couple years. I'd say like last 4 to 5, and we even saw in the 2024 Canadian Highlander Championship, the winner Noel Robin played black red mid-range, and that was a deck that wasn't really possible, say like 4 or 5 years ago even. But black and red have been getting quite a lot of like really solid cards in terms of both threats and answers. And white has continued to be getting pretty reasonable hate bears, or just like larger creatures in general. Also with Mardu, this is a deck where I feel like the points, you can either play double Mox plus a wide point spread, but I really wanted to try triple Mox plus White Plume Adventurer, which we see here. I don't know if it's better than, say, like double Mox Reanimate, Fourth Aerolingus, White Plume +1. But I really like the fast starts, and previously in lists of Mardu, you might play stuff like Dark Confidant, or like other double black cards, etc. But because of the card quality going up, you don't actually have to play those cards that are a little more awkward for your mana. So I think triple Mox is a little easier to pull off. But yeah, basically the deck is a deck that is full of excuse me, the most efficient answers and the best threats that you can play in each color. It's like pretty straightforward from that perspective. It's playing 35 creatures, so like you do have some hands that are a little threat light, but generally speaking, you have like at least 1 or 2 reasonable threats. And then you basically, the game plan is you land your threat and then back it up with the most efficient removal, the most efficient interaction, etc., or like follow up like threat, and they're all just bangers. The interesting thing about Mardu is like when I've created this list, or when I'm creating Mardu lists, I can't seem to really figure out exactly where I want to be. So there's a couple iterations that I worked on. Before I was playing Dark Confidant and not playing Troll of Khazad-dûm or higher costed cards. I'm playing Faithless Looting this list. I think there's a lot of different ways you could build it. So I'm excited to see how this plays out. Just in a game of Magic. I haven't actually played a lot with Mardu, so I'm really interested in continuing to explore it. I think there's a lot of space here that you can work in, and I'm sure other people have done the work as well. So I'm by no means saying that hasn't happened, but uh, I'm just interested in trying it out. I think Mardu, if you are building it properly for your expected metagame, can be one of the most interesting decks to build, and also gives you a lot of choices as well. So uh, stay tuned for the matches.
Sending you the challenge.
I think one of my best grifts in LJT MTG is that I get both you and Jared to send me the challenge. I never challenge you guys. You always send me the challenge.
Yeah, yeah.
It's the small victories.
The small edges. All right, I have won the die roll. I get a definite talking about mulligans.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay, so we won the die roll. This hand makes really a lot of mana, but it doesn't do anything afterwards. Like you could go like turn 1 Mountain, turn 2 City of Traders, play LED, play Pyrrhic Ritual, and then cast Valakut Awakening, break LED with Awakening on the stack, so you would get to draw 3 cards with 5 mana floating on turn 2. I mean, that's pretty good. All right, I've talked myself into keeping it, because worst case, I can deploy the defense grid. I've got this Abrade to slow things down if I want to wait a little bit to try and find another action spell. Like if I draw another land, I could just go land into defense grid. And if Trent's going fast, then I've got some ways to try and... Oh wait, no, I can't crack LED in response to this Valakut Awakening. Okay, it's worse than I thought. Yeah, not ideal. Oh well. We'll figure it out. This hand is still fine, I think. LED is a nice one to have because it makes Breach a much stronger draw. Yeah, yeah. Alright, I'm gonna undeafen.
Oppo Agent and...
Hello?
Okay, I'll deafen for a second. I still have to figure
I
my
heard a
mulligan
card
out.
that I don't like the sound of.
Can't really keep this one, I don't think. There might be matchups where you could theoretically keep this. I think in general, though, even in those matchups, this might be a mulligan. It's really close, though. Really, really close. A lot closer than I think most people would think. There is big consideration to this being a pain land instead of like an actual land as well. But yeah, I think we're gonna have to mulligan this one. Triumph Mountain. We have Corey Steelcutter, which is pretty interesting. I feel like that card's not as good when you mulligan and lands are your issue. Wow, this being a mountain makes the hand really awkward. Even though I'm for sure keeping. Like, I'm definitely not mulliganing this hand. I'm trying to decide if I want to put... So I'm going to keep Oppo Agent and...
Hello?
Okay, I'll deafen for a second. I still have to figure my mulligan out.
I heard a card that I don't like the sound of.
So I think I want to keep the Oppo Agent and the Emperor Bones, and I'm trying to decide between these other 3. If I draw land, then going Corey Steelcutter into Mom or Inquisition on turn 3 could be really appealing. The Mom being slower than I would like, I think, is making me feel like I want to put Mom back. Like, playing this on turn 2 and doesn't really impact the board a whole lot. I might want to Inquisition on turn 2. So I think I'm gonna keep Corey Steel Cutter is good at making multiple bodies at some point, which I might want as well. It's hard for me to know because I don't really know what Liam's on, but I think I'm gonna keep and I'm gonna bin this Mother of Runes. We'll see where we go from there. All
Hello?
right, I've finished keeping. It's one of those hands where like it's definitely keep, but what do I put back? You know what I mean?
Oh, I see. It's like what card is what's the worst of these mostly good cards?
Yeah, and like what's the most awkward of these cards too matters a lot, right?
Savai Triome.
Because I know I'm playing this tap land, so
Mm-hmm.
like I really want to get like my mana values worth out of the next couple turns, and so like trying to decide getting rid of a card. Oh, Mountain City of Traders. Oh no,
Mm-hmm. I'm doing things.
it's happening.
Yeah. I think the thing I'm doing though for now is just saying go
You
awkwardly.
get 7, right?
I did keep 7, yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
It's a little bit awkward. I will explain it after you take your turn. Essentially. I will be able to explain my
I'm
choice.
also in an awkward position because of what you just did, though. Because Mountain City leads me to want to do something that's, but then I also kind of just want to do something that I feel like is sort of the better line. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Um, I think I'm going to just cast this Emperor Bones.
Reasonable.
Oh, I will exile nothing.
Yep, you got it. So the reason I played City is because I wanted to cast this Valakut Awakening,
Oh.
which I'm sure you can likely infer means my deck is doing uh at least somewhat unfair things. Oh my well,
From where I'm standing, that's the most fair thing I've ever seen. It's
uh
unfair for me.
that was not it. Okay. Well, that was pretty good.
See now if you win the game though, that then you get to be like, oh, I won a game where I played City of Traders on turn 2, then played 3 mana instant speed, discard a card on my opponent's end step.
Yep. Um I will pay 2 life. I will have to sack my City of Traders,
Makes a lot of
and then
sense.
I will play this One Ring.
Yep, the ring's good.
And I'm gonna fire it off now because you can have Orcish Bowmasters.
That's true. Although I think you can still fire it off on your turn, right? Because you have protection.
Oh, I have protection. Yeah, good
Oh wait,
point.
no, but you don't want the guy to grow.
Well, but you can't play it from no mana, so I probably could have. No, yeah, you're right. You're right. If I had like waited till your end
Yeah.
step and you hold it up, and plus, like, yeah, I think it's fine. I think I feel good about it.
I would
Whoa,
feel
I've
good about
casted
it too
two.
as well. Let's get
What I
this.
don't feel good about is uh, the cards I chucked away with Valakut Awakening and what they turned into. Uh,
Oh, did you?
the viewer.
Oh,
Ooh.
I thought you missed resolving your Valakut Awakening. I thought
No,
I
I
thought they went to the
binned 2
graveyard.
cards.
Okay,
No, they go bottom. So I
it's
binned 2 cards, and I what they turned into was not good. Let's just say.
it's funny because like if you're watching from like a viewer's perspective, you cast Valakut Awakening, and then I just start dumpstering on it. Like, but
Yeah,
from
you're
my
like, what
perspective,
is this garbage?
but from my perspective, I thought that like you
Oh,
misclicked.
I drew a good
So I
one.
thought, yeah.
Okay. Well, let's start by drawing some cards. Holy God, I've drawn a lot of lands. Um. Okay. I will go for Mox Ruby. Uh. And then Wooded Foothills. I'll sack Wooded Foothills. Get Volcanic Island. Then
Okay.
I will cast Pyretic Ritual. Then I
Oh
will
God.
cast this Underworld Breach. Um. Ah. And now I have a really funny spot. And I decided to just jam without really fully thinking about it, if I'm being totally honest. Um, but I mean, it is what it is. I am nothing if but an imperfect person. Okay, so now I'm gonna play Valakut Awakening from my graveyard, and I have to exile the Pyretic Ritual to play this, but I think it's worth it. I'm gonna put 4 lands on the bottom of my deck.
I see.
Just
You're just
for
getting a wheel going here.
well, it's even better than that.
Oh.
I'll play this Lion's Eye Diamond. And so, do you see the anti synergy, which is that LED and Valakut Awakening really don't play well together?
Oh, yeah, that is anti-synergy. But does LED plus what's in your hand play well together?
Yes, it does. Okay. I have to count. Okay, so I'm gonna add triple black, discard my hand. I'm gonna cast Rain of wait, no. Because cards in graveyard is my limiting is my limiter currently.
Yes, yeah.
2, 3. Cast this LED, break it for red, and then I'll cast Stormscale Scion for 7. Uh
Wow.
yeah.
The dragons.
We're making
Oh,
dragons.
God.
I have been surprisingly impressed with this card.
I mean, I feel it kind of feels like that miracle card, Entreat the Angels, right?
Yeah,
Like
entreat the dragons.
it kind of feels similar, I'd imagine.
Well, I think the most obvious comparison for it is Empty the Warrens, and like I'm if I had made 14 goblins here, I'm probably winning the game still. But there's more random things that kill 14 goblin tokens. Like, for example, like Wrath Disguise is a card that could be in your deck. Like, I'm not certain if it is or not. But, like, that's
yeah,
just an
yeah,
example.
yeah. I mean, like
Or
some, you're gonna die to like random zealous persecutions and stuff. Like Empty the Warrens
Mhm.
loses to like other people playing cards that were bad in 2018 and are still bad. You know what I mean? Whereas like
Yeah,
the
yeah.
Stormscale Scions, like I mean, yeah,
It
maybe he
just
gets
beats
the
everything.
pre-verdicted or whatever, but like,
Yeah, but
but
you weren't beating that one anyway with creatures.
exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's pretty interesting. I feel like yeah, the Scion, even if you're like ritual Scion, like what is that, like 3/6/6s or something? Like
Yeah, if you cast it with Storm as 3, it probably kills them on the next turn. If you cast it Storm as 4, it basically definitely kills them on the next turn. Um, so it's like, I don't know, it's been pretty impressive for me, like surprisingly fast. And it's just like another outlet. Like it's another the term I kind of have been using is like it's a um it's like a fast storm out. Like it
hmm
it doesn't require you to get up to 10 like tendrils or like 20 like grape shot. Like it just you can do a little bit of storming and then it's good still. And I want to try some other shells with it too, but this black card one has
it
been
feels
interesting
pretty
so far.
reasonable to me. Plus, you just like are a regular storm deck that's playing Brain Freeze, LED, etc. So like sometimes you
Yes,
just
exactly.
win that way.
Not to be ignored in this game is that I naturally drew Underworld Breach LED, which like
Oh
obviously
sure.
like there are lots of things that can win from that spot, but I don't know, it was sweet.
Yeah, no,
Would you like to?
I think
Oh,
the
sorry.
Scions is like pretty interesting, and it's definitely worth exploring. Um, I don't need to deafen. I don't know about you.
I'm gonna deafen really quick just to
Sure,
talk about my hand.
I'll do the same.
Um,
I lied. I needed to deafen. This hand is hard because it's a hand where it's pretty fast, but has low levels of interaction. I don't have anything to get off of Stoneforge that's relevant. Basically, just Skull Clamp. The thing about this hand is like how fast does it actually kill, right? So I play Triome, untap, play Tarn, play Johnny, untap, play Lilia, attack for 6. So I kill on turn 6. Uh, I don't think I can keep this hand. Well, it's like maybe a turn faster with Pyrogoyf, but not really. Because if I Stoneforge, it just like doesn't matter. Bubble's a redraw, So I get redraws into like potentially. I think because I'm playing Aven Mind Sensor and discard spells and opposition agent, I'm gonna mulligan. This card works, but the rest of them don't. This one could be okay. I think I'm priced into keeping this hand though, since it has this one. Since it has Clearing Conqueror plus Wasteland plus like a way of interacting potentially. I don't think I can really get a 5 here because it is basically a 5 because the Fatal Push and the Snuff Out are pretty much dead. I guess I'll keep the Snuff Out because it technically kills a dragon if I need to do that at some point. I guess the Solitude's also dead. How? I guess... I think I'm going to keep. Alright, I am deafened. I'm just going to keep and get rid of this one.
So the thing about this hand is it's kind of interesting. So I know that Trent now is on like Mardu mid-range of some sort. So the kind of interaction I'm going to be playing against is discard spells and hate bears. The discard spells are like they are what they are. I can't really do that much against them. The hate bears mean that the longer the game goes, the harder things get for me. So I'm incentivized to try and find a hand that does something quickly. And that's not really what I would describe this hand as doing. Like I could do something like go like turn 1 top, turn 2 artist talent, and then try and maneuver the game from there. I could go turn 1 exile spirit guide, play artist talent, and then like on turn 2 play LED top, get 2 rummages, see if I could generate something from there. But I'm really looking for like pretty specific things, I think, in order to make that work. You get to dig through your deck quite aggressively with like artist talent level 2 plus sensei's top, which is not nothing. But I think I have to mulligan this hand. Like this is just an example of like a lands and spells hand where in a combo deck, like you need to have a plan as to how you're going to win the game. And this one, like my plan currently, I guess would be to find Breach. And I could like, again, look to do some kind of Breach LED thing, but I would need Breach LED, or I would need Breach plus something to do with the Breach once I found it. And I think I just have to have better options. So I'm going to mulligan. Okay. So this is more interesting. Stormscale is a nice kind of emergency valve that I can get out quickly. I think this is a keep. And then the question is, what do you put back? And the answer might genuinely just be Lionside Diamond. As much as I love getting to generate an extra storm for free, I don't currently have anything that really uses it very well. So I think it's the worst card in my hand because I'm just looking to hit like a ritual. Because this is 2, 3, 4, 5. So like a ritual would allow me to get up to Stormscale pretty quickly. So I'll put this back. Hello, we both had easy mulligans to 6, it seems like.
Mine looked like a hand you might not mulligan, but I definitely did want to mulligan it.
Interesting. My first hand was like keepable in some matchups, I think is how I would describe it.
Sure, yeah. My first hand was really good in matchups that aren't this matchup specifically, I think.
that aren't Storm.
Yeah. Let's get this Triome. Why don't we?
Triome me. Oh no.
Don't worry,
Oh no.
I'm not wastelanding you.
Have I influenced your play by exclaiming?
No.
All right.
I don't think there's a world I can really wasteland you here.
Interesting. Okay. Well, I'm playing Mountain. The wasteland is not ideal for sure, but is what it is. Oh wow. Okay.
Like now I'm gonna wasteland you.
Yeah, of course.
But I definitely didn't want to wasteland you before.
I'm trying to decide if I'm gonna try and find a... No, I guess I will just wait till next turn.
Bowmasters is pretty interesting.
Yeah, I'm playing a bunch of wheels, and I figured like it picks off a couple of hate bears here and there. It's like a card that's a nice juke I think sometimes
Yeah.
to be able to just like put in a Bowmasters unexpectedly. So I've liked it so far. It seemed fine. I had a game where I went turn one, play Blood Moon or Magus of the Moon specifically. Turn two, Bowmasters your elf. Um,
That's pretty tight.
Speaking
This deck
of,
gets to play Blood Moon. That's pretty cool.
yeah.
I think
Speaking
that's
of,
like
I'm gonna exile this Sibian Spirit Guide, and I'm gonna play this Magus of the Moon.
Magus. I barely know him.
Yeah,
Sure.
I gotta imagine your mana base is not like super resilient. Obviously, you have ways to kill this that just cost red, but I think that's worth it. The idea is like just to buy time, and I feel like
Yeah,
this is
get some time going.
yeah.
Well, I
This is
I
where you go like swamp.
I can't. Yeah, I can't do what I want to do, so I guess I'm gonna have to do the other thing.
Oh, I see. Yeah, this is another
I'm
issue.
casting Solitude evoked, please. Let's let's take a little peek. What do you have in
Ooh,
your
okay.
hand? Tendrils of Agony. That's good. I love to see that when your hand has 3 cards in it.
Yep.
This 2/2 is getting there for sure.
Yeah, not the most threatening card you could have seen, I think.
Although you do have a bunch of wheels, you were saying, right? So
I do, yeah. But I only have 2 mana. I did kind of blow some of my extra mana on. Oh, get this Clarion Conqueror out of here. Holy crap.
yeah, I kept the hand based on the conch, but then I ended up having to wasteland you.
Yeah.
So I was like, this.
Yeah.
And then I couldn't snuff out your Magus because Magus turned my Sevi Triome into a mountain.
Oh, and it's not one of those ones you can't float it being a swamp in response.
Exactly. Yeah, it mattered a lot. It was pretty interesting.
That's funny. This prismatic ending is like sneaky good against my deck too, I think.
Yeah, I felt like the prismatic ending was reasonable enough to keep. Also, I have this weird line where like I get to put this Clarion Conqueror under this Emperor of Bones, and like depending on how the game goes, I can like stop you mid
combo. Yeah,
mid combo. Yeah,
you get instant speed Clarion Conqueror access.
Yeah, which is pretty interesting.
It's not nothing for sure.
All right, let's get this Raucous Theater in here.
Yep. The surveillance are so good.
Do you keep lands in this spot? This land is particularly reasonable. I think I'm going to keep it. So I kept Arena of Glory on top. I think if it were a different land, I maybe mulligan it, like, or surveil it.
Yeah, you get rid of it.
But because
Arena is pretty good at, like, dynamically changing the clock, though.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking. Like, if I draw a threat, being able to give that threat haste can turn, can make the turn counter go down, right? Like, it just gets me into the red zone faster, which might be relevant here.
Totally.
Okay. I mean, I guess I don't have to use it for this one, but I'm also glad I kept the land.
Yeah.
I guess I don't want to eat my Solitude, because if I draw Reanimate, I want it to mean something. Wait, am I playing Reanimate? Oh, no, I'm playing, the other one.
Oh, man, the Laelia Emperor of Bones.
Wow, what a synergy.
Yeah.
And I hit a
flipped land.
Wow.
This guy builds his deck so good.
This kid's...
Alright, I'm gonna cast this
Valak Awakening's a good one. Get that Tendrils out of here.
Yep. my hand featured more bad cards than just Tendrils. I will give you the inside scoop.
The inside scoop.
I will play this Artist Talent.
Yeah, whenever you cast a non-creature spell, you
can rummage. Yeah. Rummage away at extra land here.
So you need to find something here?
Yeah, I think this is my last turn, right? Oh, I'm just dead, right? because you can
Yeah,
just
because I get to bring back Clear and Conquer and then just get you,
yeah. All right,
which I'm for sure doing.
yeah, you got me. Yeah, maybe my keep was bad. I don't know. Maybe exiling the Simian Spirit Guide. So my hand at the end there was Stormscale Scion, empty the Warren's tendrils before I drew the Valakut Awakening.
It's just like
Not,
three
not,
storm cards. That's
yeah, not
hilarious.
ideal. Like I kept my hand because it had the Stormscale and I had 5 mana, but then you wastelanded my Peat
The
Bog,
peak.
which
Yeah,
was pretty
pretty big
awkward
deal.
because it meant that I went from needing to draw like one ritual slash mana source to be able to like storm up and play, put like 2 or 3 dragons in play, to like needing to hit, either draw like multiple rituals or like hit a bunch of land drops. It was a bit ugly for sure.
I guess the awkward thing about Dragon is like if you're in those positions where you have to Dragon for like 3, it it makes their removal spells live that weren't before.
Yeah, I think
Um,
the hope is that like even if they had like your hand had enough that it would have killed 2 dragons.
sure, yeah,
But like
but
I think you're
hopefully
hoping if you dragon for like 4, even if they kill 2 of them, you're clocking them fast enough to win the game.
that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, yeah.
All right,
All right.
I will deafen. I obviously would like to play first. God, this card is stuck to my hand. Um, does does look okay here though, right? How do we sequence this hand? We go. I could go turn 1, Thundering Falls, Surveil, and then because I don't think I want to sack the Dwarven Mines just to put a Primal Amulet in play. I am going to keep this. It's a little bit speculative, but I've got a Surveil. I've got some nice stuff going on. I'm willing to give it a shot.
I also deafened Jet Chrome Mox. This is weird because like I can't actually make red for this Inti. If I could make red for this Inti, I would keep this Jet Chrome Mox hand. The 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 weird thing about this hand is like prismatic ending is pretty reasonable. Longbuy and Dismember suck, but if I draw land, I get to play turn 1 White Plume, which like almost assuredly wins me the game on the spot. So like, oh wow, this is hard. This is really hard. Uh, if I draw a red card, I get to play Inti. I think I'm gonna keep this hand. It's weird, but I think I'm gonna keep.
You kept 7. Excellent.
Yeah, it's I'm either gonna crush you
I
or I'm
see.
gonna get crushed.
I see.
That's the kind of hand I kept.
You either have a hand that's like interacting exactly on the axis you want it to be, or not.
Yeah, although that draw's not the worst. All right, let's get this jet into play.
Ooh. I okay, it's not nothing here.
Oh wow, Mox Diamond. That's pretty big. Primal Amulet.
Yeah,
What
dude.
the hell? What does this card do?
It's one-sided Helm of Awakening with upside.
Wow, card's sick.
I tried
Okay.
to play this card in standard. Do you remember that standard environment when we were like on the RCQ grind because it was
Oh yeah, yeah.
the team qualifying one?
Okay, Dwarven Ruins has been played. I got rid of Mox Diamond. Um, so you'll note that I didn't play a land there. Wow.
I did notice. Okay, interesting.
Okay,
Are you now gonna? Okay, yeah.
I'm assembling Tron. Uh,
Moxtron.
let's get
This
rid
does
of.
make your Clarion Conqueror not super castable, I will point out.
That's true, which
Um,
is pretty good for you, but this one still castable.
fixes the old land problem.
That's true. Yeah, I kept a hand that had Jet, Chromox, and White Plume, and I was like, I think I can keep this hand because I also have a red card in hand. So if I drew a different red card, I could have Chromoxed to play it on 2. But like,
Interesting.
I think it's actually an interesting case into like the types of hands that you keep against combo change so drastically. Like this is a hand I
Hmm.
would never keep against a mid-range deck, but because the matchup like is so different, like I'm willing to keep like hands that are maybe a little riskier, but like if I play turn 1 White Plume, I assume I'm going to win the game, right? Like
Yeah. Um. Hmm. I'm just
Do you go infinite? Primal
No, but I'm just
amulet?
deciding if sacking this Dwarven Ruins is worth putting the Primal Amulet in play. Hmm. I think it's not.
Seems kind of bad to me,
Yeah.
based on what I know of your hands.
Yeah. Hello. I haven't done this before. I probably won't do it that often, but this is just editing Liam from the future, rewatching this game. And I think I was like definitely supposed to just jam Seething Song, Stormscale Scion here and just put two 5/5s in play. I don't know why I didn't, but I think I must have been anxious about them just like both dying and then having nothing. But I think like with two lands in hand, it just was not getting that much better. Like I was hoping to draw another mana generating spell or something on the next turn, I guess, so that I could maybe put 3 dragons in play, which just seems worse. So yeah, I think this was like almost certainly a misplay, and I was just supposed to make two 5/5 flyers and see if it was good enough. Because like the primal amulet like ostensibly represents 2 mana eventually,
Yeah.
but I'm not sure that I uh, have the luxury of time to get the value out of the primal amulet. Like,
No, I agree. So the reason I kept the hand as well is because my red card was specifically Inti. So if I
so it's like a
drew a
clock
red card for
amplifier.
Chrome Mox, then I can play Inti, then I can start to get rid of some of these discard spells in my hand, or not discard, sorry, removal
Removal
spells
spells.
in my hand. Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
makes sense. Oh, and you hit a land. God, he's
I
so smart.
my deck building.
How many
I,
YJQPs does he have?
uh, 5.
5? Yeah.
I I did hit a land, but I actually think it's correct here to play this Flooded Strand and get my Surveil.
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
Like I don't need the 5th mana anymore. I don't care about that, right? Like I care about
Yeah,
what my top deck is.
100%. Ugh. Really wanted to draw a spell there. Because I can go Seething Song,
Oh,
Storm
sure.
Scale, and just make 2 dragons. But I really
You
the
really wanted the
the
extra
third
spell,
the third
yeah.
dragon. Honestly, like the getting rid of the Mox Diamond there was pretty devastating because otherwise I get to put the Primal Amulet in play. Well, no, I guess I probably would have just been saving it, I guess, because I hit the Seething Song, but yeah, because now I go to
Now
9
you're kind
from
of in the
trap.
dumpster because you're like kind of priced into double blocking, right?
Probably, yeah, and then like if you have a removal spell, it gets like ugly really fast.
Guess I
Um,
want red white here.
but them's the breaks. All right, we want to surveil into the graveyard here, please.
I guess I want. Do I want to keep this? I don't know. I think I do.
Top.
Yeah, it's definitely a good one. I'll trap you.
Darn. I accept.
All right, I'm coming in hot. We're getting rid of this prismatic ending in my hand.
You can't get up to 6 colors?
I didn't expect that, but that's actually pretty funny. Let's see. I guess if you block, I'm like if you block my Inti and block my White Plume, I just like don't care about that much. So I'm gonna give my White Plume trample.
Thoughtseize. Huh. Um, so here's my thinking. If you kept a card on top, which means that it's good, and if the card you kept on top is a removal spell and I double block, I lose the game on the spot. Like I have no outs, I think,
Yeah, yeah.
basically. If I just block Inti, I live, I go to 2. You still get to kill a Stormscale Scion, but maybe I can just jump next turn.
I think this block is correct, and you're just like
Oh, I'm
getting
getting burn
punished because
spelled
I got
instead.
yeah
Yeah,
exactly yeah.
yeah.
But I think that block's
Awkward.
right. I think you have to block the inti and then just hope that next turn, like for some reason, you draw
Because I
like
get this. This gets me maximum number of draws, right? And I know you have Thoughtseize, so I'm losing the Primal Amulet. So I like can't play around thinking that maybe I can go like Primal Amulet, draw 7, win the game somehow.
no, I agree. I think that
Um,
block was correct, and it's a hard block to make too, especially since I topped. I one thing I'll note is uh, I've been playing a ton in person, obviously. Um, don't forget to pay attention to your opponent's surveils. They
yeah,
matter. Like whether or not they kept on top is a big deal.
for
And
sure.
I've definitely surveilled on top before, and then my opponent makes a play, and it's like they had options for a different line that they probably should have taken based on how I surveilled. You know what I mean?
Hmm. Yeah, I guess it's because it's hard for me. Like, it's interesting the way that Highlander decks have evolved. Like 10 years ago, I think you would be much more afraid of getting burned out by any deck with red in it because like we were just at a point where like your deck would probably include like Lightning Helix and maybe even like Lightning Strike, Searing Spear. Like those
And
were just
or
cards
like
we played.
a shock, like some shock
Sure. Yeah,
variant.
yeah, like some shock
Yeah.
variant might be in your deck as well. And I think now it's like the removal spells are so good. Like Bolt's the only card that kills me in your deck, I think, right? Like I don't
In
think
the
you have
current list,
another.
yeah, I'm using
Yeah.
Jared's Mardu list, and he isn't playing Chain Lightning or anything. So like
Yeah.
your block was like 100% correct. I just hit like the stone cold nuts. Like and your
Yeah.
block is forced, so I know that if I keep it on top, I'm like for sure winning the game that turn. Unless you
And it still lets you kill a dragon even if I double
yeah,
block.
if you
Like if I
double
double
block, then I just
block,
get to bolt and deal like one trample to you and kill both your dragons. Yeah.
yeah, which is still bad for me, I think. I think I still well, but maybe no, I think my play's right. Because if I double block and you just have regular removal spell, I die on the next turn. It's like only exactly Lightning Bolt, where if I double block, I still get 2 draws. So
Yeah, yeah, I
yeah, I
agree.
think I think
And
my block was right.
I one thing that I think was interesting in this matchup, even though it like sort of felt like two ships passing the night, was the mulligan decisions. I'm sure that your mulligans were interesting as well, but
Hmm.
mine were like I mulliganed a hand in game two that was Stoneforge, a Johnny, uh 3-drop Seasoned Engineer land removal spell. And it was just like I did the math and I was killing you on turn 6
Yeah,
with
and
no
it's like that's too
interaction.
slow.
And that's way too slow. Like I
Yeah.
can't do that. Even though I had it was a bauble. So it was a redraw, 2 lands, 2 premium 2-drops, a Lelia, and then a Seasoned Engineer, which like you would assume would just be like so good.
Yeah, it's like this is
And
what you
maybe it
want when
wasn't a
when
season,
you
but
play this deck.
yeah.
Like this is the draw you draw up when you're brewing this deck or whatever.
Yeah, like playing a Johnny into a red 3-drop and just smashing, like
Yeah.
that sounds
But it's
amazing,
like
but
I'm never killing a Johnny. I don't care about what you do on board. Like
yeah.
yeah, like I mulliganed a hand in game 2 that was I think it was 3 lands, Artist Talent, Simeon's Spirit Guide, and Sensei's Divining Top. And maybe it had LED as well. 3 lands, LED, talent. Yeah, that's what it was. And I was like, in some of the in matchups where you're maybe trying to go a little bit slower, like you could afford to go a little bit slower, like say against like the blue decks. I actually think a hand like that is pretty reasonable because you'll have time to like put the artist talent in play, and then you can use like Sensei's Top plus level 2 on artist talent to like generate a
Oh
lot of
wow, I didn't
value.
even
Like
think about that,
it's
but
very
that's so
good, right? Like
nice.
it's it
Yeah,
it
yeah.
generates a bunch of value. But your interaction is discard spells and hate bears, which means my best tools against you are speed. I'm not because there's no really great way to play around getting discard spelled other than like you can keep slightly more threat dead's hands. You can try to do that. But for me, I think the main axis on which you were going to beat me is by like putting Clarion Conqueror in play or doing other things of that ilk. And if that's the case, then I need to keep hands that do things more actively, and that hand wasn't gonna do that, right? Like I was gonna be able to go like I could go like turn 1 artist talent, turn 2 Sensei's Top, LED, rummage twice, get to look at the top 3 cards, but like, what am I actually doing there? Like, what am I looking for? Right? Like, I just needed too much other stuff there to really be able to like fully go off. So
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And
now maybe that hand is a keep. I don't know. Maybe if I played this deck more, I would decide, you know what, actually that's on the higher end of draws that this deck has access to, and I'm obliged to keep it. But I decided
that's a
it wasn't.
pretty like I think that type of keep is something that you come to after a lot of experience, both with the deck and with the matchup that you're in, right?
Mhm.
Like, yeah, I was really impressed by the 2 mana lands that you played, like the Dwarven Ruins and the Peat Bog.
Yeah.
Like when you played those, I could feel the pressure on myself already.
Yeah.
Which I think is pretty interesting, like especially when it comes to this archetype specifically that you're playing. Like you get access to those because your mana requirements aren't as stiff as other, like, 4-color storm decks, for example.
Yep.
And I also love the idea that like you can just sometimes hose someone out with a really fast Blood Moon. And
Yeah.
I mean, like, if I didn't have Solitude in game 2, like I might have actually lost that game because I wouldn't have cast anything else, right? And maybe the 2/2 clock wouldn't have been fast enough, right? Because when you played Magus, I was only clocking you for 2 a turn, and you were at like 16, I think, when you played Magus, maybe 14.
Yeah, I was at
And
16.
if I don't
and
have that interaction, like I might actually just lose that game on the spot, right? Like,
yeah, and it's like my hand wasn't amazing, but it's not unreasonable to think that putting Magus in play there buys me 4 extra draw steps. And like my deck, although it does lock me out of 10 cards in my deck, like my deck operates under Blood Moon, even though I didn't have a swamp, like way better than yours does. Like there's just like a lot more outs that I have that all of a sudden turn the game like on its head.
yeah, also like it looks like your deck would have more ways to get rid of cards that aren't usable, right?
Yeah,
Like your
yeah.
Valakut Awakenings, etc. Like, so, or you have more outs to find like basics to play them.
Yeah.
Or you even have outs to like set up a turn where you've played a bunch of lands. On my end step, you kill Magus and then just like combo, right?
Yeah.
Like you could do stuff like that.
Or
as
like
well.
you attack me, I trade, and you get one turn of your lands being unlocked.
I felt obliged to attack you the whole time, and you haven't been blocking, and so I keep attacking, and then at some point you're just like, yeah, I'll block. I don't care what you play. I'm gonna win the next turn.
Yeah. Exactly. Anyway, that was sweet. I did this deck did appear in my list of 5 decks to try from Dragons of Tarkir and 1 to not, and this was the deck I cautioned against trying. And I'm still, I don't know. I think my verdict on this deck so far, after playing like 8-ish games with it, is that, or no, 10 games. I've played 10 games with it now. Is that it does really cool stuff, but I don't think that there's enough here yet to justify being this linear over some of the more robust storm shells. Like, you are doing cool things, and I think that it's possible that Stormscale Scion is a card that's worth including in some of those other decks as like an escape valve.
Yeah.
But I don't think that this kind of version where you're basically trying to be like Legacy Ruby Storm, the big thing is this came up when I talked about this deck initially. There were comments in the Discord about it, but the big thing is like you just don't have enough rituals yet, and that's the biggest thing that this deck would want. Like if there were just
also never changing.
Yeah, no, they're not printing more rituals. Like if magically there were just like 3 more red rituals, I think you could maybe even consider not being black, and you could play like bonus round and all of the other like looting effects and copy effects, and you could try to like really go off. But as is, the thing that you always find yourself saying is, man, I want more mana and storm count at the same time. And there's just like not a lot of good ways to generate that currently. That being said, Stormscale Scion, pretty impressive. It's way better than Elemental Eruption, which is like the other early escape valve storm card they've printed recently, which is in this deck as well. And to be fair, in game 1, Elemental Eruption probably wins that game just as easily as Stormscale does. But in game 3, the fact that Stormscale made 2 5/5s, like, you happen to have the Lightning Bolt, but that wasn't a terrible out for me necessarily, and
Yeah,
it would have
totally.
meant I got to keep playing the game at least. So yeah, I
It's
don't know.
also,
Pretty
I don't know.
interesting.
I think with Ruby Storm, it's hard too because like all of these things that you like wish you had more of, you're never getting like 0 mana artifacts that like make mana, like
Yeah.
rituals, etc. Like, um, but I will say the Stormscale Scion, I think as a threat is pretty interesting, and also like I think it's possible that smaller storm combos are unexplored in our format, or at least like unexplored at a like really consistent like higher level, like playing Empty the Warrens for 5. Like I'm actually thinking a lot about my old Legacy days where, um, like one of our local players used to play the Epic Storm, and um, they would do math on like, can I make enough goblins to beat a Stoneforge that puts a Batter Skull into play? And the interesting thing about this format is you don't really have to think that hard about that. Like
No, you can
you
kind of just jam.
you just kind of jam, and then like yeah, maybe they have the the like small wrath effect or whatever, but beyond that, I think if you empty for like 6 in this format on like turn 2 or 3, you're probably winning a reasonable amount of those games, right? So I
Yep.
think there might be like some room for exploration now that Stormscale Scion has come out. Like, what do those decks, if they have been explored previously, like what do they look like now that you get sort of a bigger threat? Because I think the problem with empty a lot of the times is like, okay, well, I have a bunch of mana, and mana isn't my bottleneck this game, but my win condition is empty, right? And like empty for 4, for example, that definitely won't suffice in a lot of games.
Yeah, that doesn't beat most fair decks. Like they just have ways to beat it either with lifelink or
Or
they
just
have a way to kill the
creatures, like just playing
tokens.
enough
Yeah, their
creatures.
creatures are just good enough. Like they play a Barrowgoyf and you're like, like my combo deck is losing to this card too. But Stormscale has
Yeah,
like evasion.
exactly.
It ends it ends the game in like 2 or 3 turns. And Elemental Eruption is like similar. The other shell I wanted to explore with Stormscale is Heartbeat Storm, because I think that that's
Oh
another deck
yeah,
that
yeah,
has kind of
yeah.
struggled with its win conditions in the past. And so I didn't have it ready for tonight when we were going to play, but I think in the near future on the channel I'm going to try and play um, Heartbeat of Spring Storm with like Seeker Walk combo in it. Kind of borrowing Jer recently has been playing Scape Shift with Seeker Walk in it, and I think it's like pretty interesting. It does, like, because you're a combo deck that doesn't have very many creatures, like the Seeker is gonna die to removal spells some amount of the time, but the reality is the points list's arrangement currently is such that if you're not gonna play black for tutors, like you kind of are actively looking for things to spend your points on in the combo decks, and just getting access to this like very powerful 1 card combo for like not that much investment, all things considered, seems pretty interesting to me. And also the Heartbeat of Spring effects love Time Walk. Like if on four lands
Yeah.
you go Heartbeat, Time Walk, like, and then you just get to untap, put your 5th land in play, have 10 mana, like that feels like it's a potentially pretty potent place to be. So I look for that one to appear on the channel somewhere in the
Well, like
near-ish
you
future.
can imagine sequences where you play Heartbeat on 4, play your Time Walk, untap. You just naturally drew your Timeless Witness. See Timeless
Mhm.
Witness, Time Walk, play a land, play a 4-drop, untap. Like you're winning that game, right?
100%, 100%.
Totally. So yeah, I think that that could be an interesting shell to take a look and see if Stormscale Scion could do some work in it as well. Um,
Yeah.
I think the thing that this match like taught me is that I thought Stormscale Scion was a non-starter, and I'm a little more convinced that it has some
It's
place.
not just a
Like
joke.
I don't know exactly where that place is. Yeah, it isn't like some, like WotC like will make cards that are basically just throwbacks. Like, oh, look
Yeah.
at this, it's the Storm Dragon, Tarkir Dragonstorm, like haha.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
for what it's worth, I think that design is really cool and like really funny. But also like it, I didn't expect it to be that interesting or that good. And to see it like actually hold its own and for example kill me in game 1 like I think was really cool. So
Yeah.
definitely a cool exploration of like an archetype as well. And I think the Scion, like, it seems like it fits in a bunch of weird spots, and that's the thing about these like odd combo decks is like, excuse me, all it takes is like the last card that they printed. You know what I mean? Like that one extra, win condition or engine card or whatever, like, artist talent, for example, is a pretty recent card that we saw come up, right? And like that seemed pretty good to me, especially if you're, doing a bunch of wheeling and stuff. Like basically reads draw a card on it because you're never gonna have time to play those extra lands. Like, so I don't know, like I think these combo decks are cool because like they start to get better in like inches almost, like with like every couple sets. So.
And it's like, obviously they're not gonna print it on Underworld Breach realistically probably ever again. But every now and then there are just these cards that seem to get through design that unlock previously not necessarily unplayable but underplayed decks. Like it's interesting, like Bolas' Citadel is a good example of one where like I think like that Citadel Storm deck that is now playable in the format, I think that was probably playable the day Bolas' Citadel got spoiled or got printed, and it took longer for the community to find that deck. But like that's an example. Paradox Engine's another example where like that deck was definitely playable and good the day Paradox Engine got printed. And so like there are these cards I think that get printed, and obviously it helps when there are artifacts that are tinkerable that like at first glance look like they're maybe just funny and or not that good, but are actually secretly like the last piece you needed to unlock a combo deck. And I don't think Stormscale Scion is at that level. I think it falls more in line of the like, oh, this is a nice like piece of the puzzle.
It's like another cool.
It's another upgrade, right? That makes it so that like for example, that game 1, I don't win game 1 with any other Storm payoff there. I would have needed a lot more because I was down to like I had 6 mana, 3 cards in graveyard. So it's not like if I have Tendrils there I can win because I could only Tendrils you for like 7. So it's not a lethal Tendrils. Empty the Warrens probably wins, probably, but it's not guaranteed.
Way more susceptible, right? Like,
yeah. And even Elemental Eruption, like probably wins there. But again, I think there's a real value to the copies not being tokens that have CMC 0. Like the fact that the Stormscale Scion tokens are 6 mana things that have a lot of power.
They don't get to unload like their March of Otherworldly Lights and their prismatic endings and
exactly.
Totally.
Yeah. All right, cool. Well, this was fun. Thank you for submitting to my request of playing against a new brew with no additional information.
I love playing against combos, so I'm down.
All right. Well, thanks so much for watching. We really hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps us out, and we really appreciate it. Let us know what your favorite moment from the video was, maybe what your favorite new card is from Tarkir Dragonstorm that you've seen so far. Like I said, we're still trying to feature more on the channel as the weeks go on. And without further ado, we will see you next time.